In the last video, we have understood the various types of environments. So there are four types of environments. One is standalone environment, which is one-tier architecture, and client-server environment, which is two-tier architecture, and web environment, which is three-tier architecture, and the last one is distributed environment, which is entire architecture. So we have seen this. Now we are going to see the various levels of testing. What do you mean by levels of testing? When I say levels of testing, we have unit testing, module testing, integration testing, and then you will have system testing, and finally you will have UAT, stands for user acceptance testing. First of all, you need to understand at what level these testings will be performed. Unit testing, module testing, integration testing. These three will be taken care by the development team. So all these things will be taken care by the developers. And integration testing is also is the responsibility of the developer. All these comes as part of your white box testing. Okay. And system testing will be part of our testing team's job, and here you will be performing black box testing. Black box testing. That means you are going to perform the functional part of the testing. Functional testing you are going to perform. So that means you are going to check whether the system is working properly or not. That we are going to do as part of system testing. In the system testing, after system testing, you may do system integration also. One more type of testing, if there are couple of systems which are having some interlink, or there will be some data coming from one application to another application. Let us say we call it as upstream applications and downstream applications. What is this? We will discuss when we talk about system integration. That means if you are sending some information from one application to another application, and you are checking the connection between those two systems, that we call it as system integration. So to give you very simple example, let us say you have a payment. Let's say you are trying to make use of your bank application. Let's say you are using Citibank as your login for the payments. You logged into Citibank and then you booked a ticket using this Citibank. So you book a ticket and then pay the amount from your Citibank. That means, let us say you booked a ticket from TSRTC website. From the TSRTC website, you pay the amount, and the amount should be deducted from your Citibank account. So how this system is working, how the integration happens between your banking account and then the website, and then there is a integration between these two systems, that we might be doing as part of system integration testing. And also what we have, one more thing, after this you will have user acceptance testing. So this will be done by the business users. So here you will have two types of testings. One is alpha testing and another one is beta testing. So what is this and how are we going to do all those things, we will discuss now. First and foremost thing, we are talking about unit testing. So unit testing means whenever the developer write a simple code, a line of code, if he write a line for logging into one application. Let us say, I'll not discuss too much on the development part here. I'll just tell you, let us say I have an application. Let's say I have an application where I wanted to open this application. Let's say I am opening this tsrtc dot in. Okay, so this is my first step. And after that, what I wanted to do is I wanted to go to my login page. So you have reservations, book e-ticket, click on, and then you are going to enter the login. Okay, e-ticket login. and click on e-ticket login, and then you will be entering your user ID and password and clicking on login button. What steps you have done? So first you have opened this browser. So what would be the steps the developer will do? So developer will write the code for invoke the browser, whatever the browser we have opened. This is the first step. And the next step is what? After open, you will have to go to reservations and then click on book e-ticket. That is the next step. Go to reservation and then book e-ticket. Since you are not comfortable with the development, I'm just writing in the simple English instructions. This is what he'll be doing. And after that, what you are going to do? You are going to click on e-ticket login. So next step will be click on e-ticket login button. And the next step would be you are going to click on this e-ticket login, and then you will be entering the username and password and clicking on login button. So then you will be writing enter username, enter password, click on login button. So this is how the application should work. So if at all I have to check the independent lines of this code, so the developer has written this line of code and now he is going to check. So first what he'll do, he will put his cursor here. There is a concept called debugging in the development tools. Whenever the developer write a program, he puts the cursor here and then he will execute this line. So when I say execute, so the developer will run this line, independent line, and see whether that is working fine or not. So once he execute this line, the cursor will move on to the next line. Okay, I'll just show you one example using one of the IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So Eclipse is one of the integrated development environment. I'm just taking it. Forget about how I'm using all these things, but I'll just show you how I'm going to execute the code line by line. I wanted to show you that so that you will understand how the developer will execute the code. So let's say I'm going to create a new project. Once you create it, go to file, click on new, and then you will be having Java project. And if you wanted to see how you install this Eclipse and all, you can refer to our channel. There is a Selenium with Selenium WebDriver with Pawan is a playlist where you can see how you will uh, download Eclipse and how you will make use of this and then write the program. So let's say demo. I'm giving the project name as demo and demo unit testing. Okay, I'm going to demo unit testing and click on next and then click on finish. And once it is done, you will be able to see there is a source. Here I'm going to create one sample package. Okay, so if you don't understand this also, it's not a problem. com.sample.com and click on finish. And now I am going to create a class. Right click, new, and then class. And demo is my class name, and I'm selecting this public static void main and click on finish. So you no need to worry about all these if you don't understand. I'm simply writing one program saying that system.out.println, that is sys system.out.println, I am learning Java. Okay, and I'm going to make two more statements in the same manner. I have done B.Tech. Now the last one, what I'm going to do is I am interested in software. So these are the three statements. If you look at, if I have to run this program, see run demo, if you run this, automatically you will be able to see the output. I am learning Java, I have done B.Tech, and I am interested in software. So all the developers will write the programs this way. If at all he wanted to see whether this is working fine or not, so what he'll do is he'll put a breakpoint here. See here, when I double click here, there will be a breakpoint, and then he will go here, and then he will click on this, and then obviously what you have to do is you have to run it in the debug mode. So what you're going to do, see there will be an option for you to debug the code, debug as Java application. Okay, so if you click on this, automatically it will go and wait for the first statement. Okay, so it is asking me to check the whether you wanted to switch in the debug mode or not. See now what happened. So your code is waiting at the first step. Okay, so now if you look at, see there is an option called resume. If you press this resume option, it will move further, it will execute everything. Okay, so if at all you wanted to run only step by step process, what you have to do is you will be pressing F6. Okay, so see the cursor is here now. If you press F6, it will go to the next line. See, the first line got printed. I'm pressing F6. If I press one more time F6, the line will move to the next line. That means whenever I execute the first line, whether that is working fine or not, if I check, so that kind of testing, we call it as unit testing. Okay, so the same thing your developer is going to do for all the things, whatever he has done, he is going to verify from here end, his end, like one by one, line by line execution. If he does that, we call it as unit testing. Okay, similarly what you are going to do is all the units, whenever you have all these units forms together, for example, if I make this entire lines of code, all these lines of code, I can simply call this as user login as my function. Okay, so if I make it as my function and then I keep everything inside of it. Okay, so that means, okay, don't worry if you don't understand what is function, what is method. So if they have all these statements like a block in a particular functionality, and then if they are running as a block of statements, collection of all these units forms your module. Login is one of the module. Let us say if you look at, so this entire block, this is one module. If they execute, if you are able to log in, then the login functionality is successful. And all these are home, bus on contract, inquiry, cancel tickets, cancel services. All these also can be considered as each one as one module. If you are checking exclusively for those, then we call it as module testing. So when I say module, you are going to verify those modules individually first. First you will be checking home, and then you will be checking the bus contract, and then you will be checking inquiry, and then you will be checking cancels, and after that only you will join all of these into one single page. So that forms your TSRTC website. This is how all the modules will be integrated by checking individual modules. Once the modules are done, then you are going to do the integration testing. So this is the same as like how you do anything. For example, if you are learning some course, for example, you are learning testing course. So you don't get involved into the project directly, right? First, you're going to understand software basics, and then you will be learning testing basics, and then you will be understanding SDLC, and then you are going to learn SDLC, and then you are going to learn defect lifecycle management. And after that only you should be able to understand the project. By clubbing all these modules together forms your project. Similarly, whenever all the modules are done, then there will be an integration testing which will be performed. So when we are trying to do the integration, there are a couple of things we need to remember. First one is you might do the integration testing using top down approach, or you may do it as bottom up approach, or you may do it using hybrid approach, which is a combination of top down and bottom up. And then you may have a big bang approach. Any of these approaches you can make use for doing your integration testing. Let us say if I have to demonstrate the same example to you, let's say I have a module here. Let's say I have this module and I have another module here and I have another module here, and then there are so many modules, and then there is a link between these modules. First module this, and from this will go, and then from this will go. So let us say I'll open one more website also, demo QA, demo tours or something, whatever is available. We'll go there and see how the website will look like. Let's say this is one of the website where you will be able to figure out what are all the modules are there. See, home is one module, flights is one module, hotels is one module, car rentals is module, cruise, and then destinations, and then vacations. Like that, you will have various modules. So now what we are going to do is, let us say top-down approach. What do you mean by top-down approach? Top-down approach means you have couple of modules, module 1, module 2, module 3, like that you have n number of modules. When I say modules, this is how it is. So assume this is my module 1, and this is my module 2, and then this is my module 3, and then this is my module 4. Okay, so here if you look at, this is my main module. When I say main module, this is my main module, and all of these are sub modules. So the rest of the things are all sub modules. If I say all of these are sub module, and if one of them is not ready, let us say one of the module, this module is not ready. Let's say this module is not ready and they did not work. The developer did not work. But what happens, I wanted to demonstrate my client saying that your application will look like this. Let us say if you go back to this website, see here, home, you are able to see the home page of the application. Flights, you are able to see flight finder, and then you will be able to see some functionality here. And then if you go to hotels, see, under construction, the page, this section of our website is currently under construction. Sorry for the inconvenience. What does it mean? Your developers are still working on it, but you wanted to present it to your customer saying that we are developing this application and these modules are ready, and this module is not ready, we are still working on it. But if you click on this, the logic will go to the respective page. So how this logic is going to work and show this page? So we are going to use a temporary program called stub. We call it as stub. In the top down approach, whenever your main module is ready and the submodule is not ready, you are going to make use of a temporary program called stub, and then you will be making use of it, and then you are demonstrating the pages. So in such cases, we call it as, this is top-down approach. I hope you understand what is top-down approach. You are integrating the modules. When some program is not ready also, you will integrate using some temporary program that we call it as stub. So what is stub now? Stub is an interface which is used to integrate the modules when the module is not ready. Similarly, bottom up approach means when your main module is not ready. Let us say I have my small components are ready. Okay, these are all my small modules which are not our main. Okay, so submodule 1, submodule 2, all those. So this is submodule 1, and this is my submodule 2, and this is my submodule 3. But my main module is not at all ready. So when I say my main module is not ready, what are we going to do? So what we will do, let's say your main module is not ready. In such case, assume we are going to use one temporary program that we call it as driver. So when I say we use a driver which will be used, we use driver to ensure that your, even though your main program is not ready, you are working on it, and then you will be able to achieve. That means what happens in the same scenario, if you look at, so sometimes what happens whenever they have this home page, so this user ID password, once you log in, you are able to see all these modules information, but they have told that there should be some validation to the user ID and password, and there should be some layout, and everything needs to be properly fixed. But due to various reasons, our development team don't want to work on the first page. So whatever you enter here, it will allow you, and then if you are able to go inside, that means you did not put the logic properly. I'm just giving as an example, okay? So it is not working here, but still what I'm trying to say is whatever you give here, you should be able to go inside of the page, and then there are no validations are happening in the main page. Still, you are able to see the other modules. That case, we call it as bottom up approach. That means you are working on small components and then trying to integrate with the main module. You will work on the main module at a later point of time. It is as simple as how I am explaining you the testing concepts. So if you look at, you don't know how to do a testing project, that means your main module is testing project, how to do the testing project in the company, that you don't know. For that, what you are learning, you are learning testing basics, you are learning SDLC, you are learning SDLC, you are going to learn software development, how you will be logging the defects, and then finally through all these things you are going to integrate all of them, and then you will form your main program. So the same thing applies here also for the integration testing. So that is what top-down approach and bottom-up approach for the integration testing. And hybrid approach means you will be combining any of these two methods wherever. Sometimes if you look at some concepts, I'll be explaining the basics and then I'll be explaining you the next one later. Sometimes I'm explaining the project at a high level and then explaining you the subtopics at a later point of time, or else subtopics at some point and then again going back to the project. So wherever it is possible, you might be adding these modules inside, and it will be a mix of your top down approach and bottom up approach. If you are having both of them together, then for some of the modules, then we will be calling it as hybrid approach. So these all things will be taken care by the developers. So what is big bang approach? Big bang approach means all the modules. So you will be not testing all the, you will not test the modules individually, and integrate directly. Integrate them directly. So in that case, what will happen? You don't know where exactly the problem is coming in. So what you have to do first, you have to check all the modules individually and then integrate it. If at all you are not checking, if there is a problem comes in, whether the problem is with this module or the overall integration, you will not understand. It is simple like, for example, if you have to give a simple example, you might be aware of, there will be a TV and then there is a CD player. Both are two different system. Okay, now I wanted to run one CD on my TV. So how do you do? You will connect the TV to the CD player and then play it. Then what will happen? There might be a problem where the picture is not working. So in that case, what you will be checking first? First, TV is one module. You will check TV whether the TV is working fine or not. Okay, so that is working fine. So you will play CD player alone and then check whether that is working fine or not. And after that, you will have to check the interface. So what is the interface? There will be a cable or the connector with yellow, red, and then white cable, right? So there will be a cable which you will be connecting between your TV and CD player. So if at all your cable is not inserted properly, in that case also the display sometimes it may not come, sometimes the voice also may not come. You have to insert it properly. So sometimes if the cable is not good also, it will not work. That means the problem is not with TV, not with CD player, that is with interface. That's the reason you should check the components individually. Then obviously you will understand the problem is only with the interface. That is what your big bang approach generally we will not do in the organizations, because we will not add everything without testing. So that's the reason you can ignore this big bang approach. Only thing is top down approach and bottom up approach. Both of them are very, very important. And finally, once the integration testing is done, then you will be moving on to the system testing. So when I say system testing, In the system testing, what you're going to do is you are going to perform black box testing. So black box testing means we will be discussing all these things in a detailed manner in the subsequent videos. But for now, for example, there is one application they have given it to you. So here what you are going to do, you will be checking whether your username and password, if you give valid and click submit, whether it is allowing you or not. That is positive testing. You enter valid user ID, invalid password, and click on login button, whether it is working fine or not. Invalid and valid, and then submit. Invalid, invalid, without entering anything. Like that, you will be checking all the possible combinations to ensure that your system is behaving what it is supposed to do and what it is not supposed to do. That we will be calling it as system testing. And system integration testing is also as part of our testing. If at all you are working with two different systems, let us say you are integrating your system with some other system, then we will be doing the system integration testing. Okay, we will discuss these things in detail in the upcoming videos. And now at a high level, we will be understanding each and everything. And user acceptance testing. User acceptance testing, after completion of the system testing, UAT, business users will perform what exactly the how we are going to use in the real world, that they will be performing the same kind of system testing with the real-time scenarios they are going to perform. So here you will have alpha testing. Alpha testing means within the company, that means wherever the product is developed by our testing team, in the presence of customer, the application will be tested. So what will happen? Somebody will test your application within your organization, or sometimes you may be asked to test that in front of the customer. So what will happen? There is a provision for you. If at all you identify something wrong in the system, you can let the customer know that you will fix the issue and give it back. If it is beta testing by third party testing team, at the customer location, in front of the customer, okay, in front of the customer, that will be tested. The application will be tested. In this case, what will happen if at all the third party person, that means whoever is not from your company, some other company people will do the work, whatever you have done, they are going to test whether you have tested it properly or not. These people's job is to check that you have not tested properly. So in that case, what will happen? If at all they identify any issue which we did not identify, then we should be responsible for that and we need to provide valid justification to the customer. That's the reason alpha testing and beta testing plays a vital role. And if at all they find anything, and then the system team is responsible why we have missed that in our system testing. After these people test only, it will go to UAT. So that's the reason whatever the issues we are trying to identify, that will be tested and identified only within the system testing phase. 99% you have to identify all the issues in the system testing phase. Okay, so these are all the 5 levels of testings which are very, very important. One is unit testing, module integration, system testing, and user acceptance testing.